Hi y'all, it's Charlene from the Crafty Art Shack, and we're back here today with another challenge video. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit, so let's get on with the crafts. Let's go! Alright, here we go with DIY number 1. Alright, here we go with DIY number 1. Now for this first DIY, you're going to want a napkin of your choice of colors. I chose this one because I have some rub-on transfers that I'm going to use on this, and what I'm doing is I'm cutting these in about 1-inch strips, because that little riser that I have, it looks like a little cutting board right now, but it's actually a riser. It has little black feet on it. I'm going to take and use these on that. And here's my transfers from Redesign, and what I'm doing is I'm picking out which one I want to be on there. Now normally I don't buy Redesign because it's way expensive and I really can't afford it. And so I'm cutting a few of these out to see which ones are the right size for what I want to do. Now this particular pack, let me tell you why I bought it. Because it has 3 sheets that are 8.5 by 11, and it has over 21 little projects in it. Now the package is $19, and I got it because it has 21 in it. At least 21 projects that you could do, maybe more depending on how you use them. So I knew I could get at least 21 projects out of it, and that would make them less than $1 a piece. That's cheaper than you can buy some stuff at the Dollar Tree. And I thought that was pretty good for the design that these were. So what you see me doing here is I am going to wrap this napkin all the way around the edge of this, and I'm matching up each of the little pieces so it looks seamless. And I'm going to go all the way around the edge of this. Now once I get done with this and it completely dries, I'm going to go back over it and seal it with Mod Podge, or either a clear wax or a clear matte finish. So you have different choices of what you can do. I'm going back over it with Mod Podge because it's just easier because I got it out already. So while I'm waiting on that to dry, my little board already has some roughed up spots in it, and I'm okay with that because that will fit perfect in our booth. And so what I'm doing here is I'm rubbing on this transfer. Now they give you that little tool in there as well with your projects. So what you see me doing here is I'm going around the edges and sanding off all of this extra tissue paper, and I'm going to go all the way around this. Now in order to do that sanding, you got to wait till it dries. Now what I'm doing now is I'm going back over my project, cleaning up any extra Mod Podge on it, and I'm going over it with Mod Podge to seal it in. Now I'm not going to worry about those little feet, what they look like, because that fits perfect with our booth because it's farmhouse shabby chic look. Yeah, and it looks great. So I'm going to go all the way around this, and we will see this at the final reveal, and I'll add some extra embellishments at the final reveal too. Now today's challenge is the Napkin Challenge. It's hosted by Sarah at Sunflowers and DIYing, and the guest host the co-host this month is Lolly D's Creations. These ladies are doing some awesome crafts. You want to go check them out, check out their channels. There's also a playlist in the description box below of all the people who are participating in this challenge. They're doing some awesome crafts, and you sure don't want to miss it. Now here we go with DIY number 2. Now for this next DIY, I got this little bird mold from Temu. Now what you see me doing here is I'm going down inside of it, making sure I fill it up all the way with hot glue. Yes, hot glue. And I know you're like, Charlene, this is not a napkin. I know it's not a napkin, but we're going to use it in this project, and we have to do this first because this has to sit and cool off until that hot glue gets nice and solid. And you guys, if you ever make these and they don't turn out right, if you get a little bitty crock pot and put them in it, you can reuse the glue for other projects. So just so you know, FYI. And we're going to fill this up. We're going to squish it around, make sure all the air bubbles are out of it, make sure that glue goes down in there, set it to the side, let it dry. Now we're going to take out our little mold and we are going to dust this with some baby powder. I use baby powder because I have a can of it or a bottle of it on my desk, and that just makes it easier to work with. And I'm going to take some of this Crayola air dry clay. I bought it when it was on sale, and then when it's done, I'm not using this again because this stuff cracks really easy, and you have to really work with it. And I add glue to it and everything else and leave it in that bowl until I'm ready to use it. But I'm telling you, it'll still crack on you, and then you have to go back in there and fix those spots. But it makes beautiful projects, and we're going to use it until we've used it up. Now, I know you're still going, Charlene, where is the napkin? Don't worry, we're getting to it. Now, what we're doing here is we're adding some glue to the top of a birdhouse. I bought this birdhouse for $1.99 at the thrift store, and I thought it was absolutely gorgeous because I could see the potential in it. Now, what you see me doing is I made 2 of these little strips. One of them is going to go up here on the top because this birdhouse had something up there. Don't know what it was, couldn't find it, so I'm just going to make it work with what I want to do. So what I'm doing is working my clay all the way in around the edges so it doesn't look like it's a piece added on, but that it looks like it's a part of this project and was always there. Now, I did staple 2 pieces of painter stick to the front of it because I wanted it to be a little wider for my next piece. Now, this part of this one, I'm going to take and cut it in half, and you see me take my ruler and I'm going right down the center of it, and it didn't cut it all the way through, so I take my utility knife and I'm going to cut it. Now I'm going to work this in on the front face pieces. I know, no napkin yet. We're getting there. Now, after I've worked those pieces in on the top, I'm going to add this little oval to the bottom of it, and I am brad nailing this on, and this to give it a bigger base to stand on because I just felt like it needed one. I know, no napkin yet. We're getting there. We're getting there. Trust me, we are. So I put a couple more brad nails in this because I want to make sure it stays on there really good. Now, y'all don't judge me on my sexy legs, but I'm reaching down there in the napkin drawer and I'm pulling out my blue napkins, and here we go with the napkins. Here's the napkins for this project. And we're going to make sure we get all the layers off of it. And I end up not using that second one that I took out. I just used this one. And if you take and put a piece of painter's tape or some kind of tape on there, you can pull it off. Now, I always save those because I print on them. If I don't print on them, I use them for other things. So anyway, sorry for the view, you guys, but this is a big project and I just didn't have enough room to work on it. Besides, if you saw the back of me, behind me in my craft room, you know why everything is, yeah, about that. I've been working on a booth. We'll see pictures of that in a few minutes. Now, I'm going to add Mod Podge to this, and I am going to take and lay down my napkin on here, and there I've already done the other side of it, and what I'm doing is rubbing it on there and making sure it's nice and smooth, and then I'll add this extra piece up here at the top. And if you work with it just right, you can match it up and it looks seamless and nobody knows that you added another piece in there. Then the next thing I do is I take out my Ocean Blue Waverly chalk paint, and I am going to go along the edge of this and paint certain areas on this birdhouse to match this napkin. And you see me using that piece of napkin to use to clean up stuff. It's actually sitting on the bottom of my birdhouse so that I don't scratch it up because I didn't want to mess it up while I was painting. So you can use those napkins for a lot of things, so save those pieces. And I'm going to go all the way around the edge of this, trim it out, and move on to the next step. I lost the footage where I added my little bird, but I'm going to go through here and finish painting this, and you will see the rest of this at the final reveal with the extra embellishments on it. So now, as most of you know, we opened up a booth this weekend. Here is a ton of thrift flips we did. We found these table legs, and if you find a table on the side of the road or multiple tables and it has a broken leg, pick up the legs because they make excellent items to redo and flip. Now, I found a bunch of bed skirts, and I made these valances, and here is the post up there that you see is what we hung our lights from at the top of our shelves, and you also see those valances back there in the back, and here's another one of those posts. There is tons of things that you can do with nothing to make it into something. So if you're ever driving down the road and you see those table legs, pick them up because they make excellent things. So here, this hutch, Beth's daughter went in there and helped us flip this, and I added the handles. Beth helped with it, and we got it all put together and put in the booth. I think it turned out absolutely gorgeous. That little doggy bed down at the bottom, we did that as well. There is so many things that we thrift flip this week in really quick for our booth to be able to set it up. And I'm going to show you more pictures of the booth in just a minute, and I just wanted to share these flips with you. Right at this time, we'd like to thank